Yes. Yeah, I live in Oaxaca, Mexico. I grew up in the United States and I moved here about 5.5 years ago. Trained as a psychologist, lived in Colorado most of my life. So I love being in the mountains and going to look for moose and bear. I don't know if you want to hear a little of my story of how I quit drinking and how all that stuff changed. I know when I'm going on a podcast, they're going to ask me that. And I honestly start getting emotional just thinking about it because I can just remember back about 10 years ago, and I probably will cry a little. It doesn't matter how many times I talk about it. I just kind of remember what shape I was in. For me, it was eating and drinking. I had this very responsible position. I was taking care of everybody all day, waiting for somebody to notice that I could use some taking care of. And my escape was eating and drinking, looking for the most special experience every night. I don't know if people can relate to that. I thought of it as self-love and self-care. I'm going to go out to dinner. I'm going to have the most amazing meal and I'm going to have wine. And I knew I was drinking too much. I've had a history of drinking too much on and off since I started back in college. There were always these limits. And yeah, I drink a lot on the weekends, but I don't drink during the week. And then I drink during the week and I never drank a bottle. And then it was a bottle plus. So by the time I was 55, I was in rough shape without really admitting it. I was the executive director of a nonprofit and I felt like I was doing really well, but it's almost like my life revolved around this food and drink seeking behavior, right? Almost like a drug. Yeah. It is a drug, right? So it has to be so special. And then what that ends up leaving you feeling is it's not special enough. It's never special enough. I want more. Drink the bottle of wine and then feel like I need a little something more now, a little something more special. And eventually, as a psychologist, I started going, that sounds a lot like addiction. Looking for something more special and never being satisfied.
Always trying to reward ourselves for working
Yes,
so hard. And
exactly. So many days I would start the day saying, I'm not going to do that tonight. I would wake up at 3 in the morning feeling like crap, feeling like, how do I get this toxicity out of my system so I can sleep? And the next day saying, I'm not going to do that tonight. I don't have to make a big deal out of it. I just don't have to eat and drink like that tonight. But by the end of the day, yes, I do. I want it. And just feeling so out of control and out of integrity with myself.
yeah, the rest of your life was very functional and successful. And it's just like
Yeah.
a little thing that doesn't quite fit with the rest of you. And you put so much energy into keeping the show on the road, don't you? To keep it
Yeah.
appearing fine and in control. It's exhausting.
And having moments of wondering, are people noticing?
Yeah.
It was very stressful. And yeah. So I would tell myself I deserve it, but I would feel like you're not your best self anymore. And you haven't been for a long time. I had this wake up call moment. While I was building my own business, I worked as a psychologist in nursing homes for a while. So they are really sick at the end of their lives. They need 24/7 care, and we put them in these homes. And I thought these are going to be people in their 80s and 90s, and I'm going to go help them with this stage of life. And I was shocked how many were in their 60s and 70s, like a lot of people closer to my age, right? And by the time I was doing that, I had so much inflammation through my system that I could barely walk. I envisioned I'm going to be hiking the mountains in my 80s, but I was 55 and I couldn't even go for a 10-minute walk. So it was like, Ginny, this is where you're headed. You're not headed to hiking in the mountains in your 80s. You're headed to the nursing home in your 60s.
I heard that because alcohol is so toxic, our body thinks it's diseased if we keep drinking. So that's why we have inflammation to fight the disease. I think
our body's constantly trying to fight it off. Yeah, like I would wake up feeling like things are toxic. My body was experiencing that every day, trying to save me and keep you alive. I'll cause diabetes. Like I was pre-diabetic by that point. So I thought I need to change my eating and drinking, but it seemed it's going to be so scary. I'm going to lose all the good parts of life.
especially those two things.
Those two things. Yeah. So yeah, that's where I was. And I can tell you, once I found key principles for, okay, here's how you eat to be healthy. Here's how you drink to be healthy. And they were just proven over and over in the research. After I fought with them for a while, then I thought, okay, I'm going to do this because otherwise I'm going to the nursing home. And I was crying every morning trying to switch to this healthier eating and drinking approach that was pretty specific, what I found. And then I started realizing I don't need to cry because this is actually feeling really good. And like, I actually can start celebrating this. And it just gained momentum, which I think people don't anticipate.
As the benefits come in, you don't want to miss
Yes.
those benefits, do you? How did you do it? Did I see you work with Annie Grace? You're one of her coaches.
I read her book.
Yeah.
I was one of her first coaches before she started the path because I kept reaching out and saying I needed something other than a 12-step program. I never would have done a 12-step program.
Thank you.
Right. I read it and I was like, okay, I need to do this. I need to do this.
And those
Oh.
liminal beliefs, I think, are so crucial because I bet you were trying willpower to start with when you
Yeah.
change. But once you change your mindset and realize it's not a reward, it's more like punishment. You don't want it anymore, and you realize you're going to gain so much more than you lose. So did you tackle the drinking first or both together?
No, I did them both together, which I recommend to people. People think that sounds really scary, but because quitting drinking is I'm stopping something, I need to stop this. Like you need something positive you're going towards.
Yeah.
To really help you have the positive emotion to go in that direction. Psychologically, it's so much better if you're going towards something, not just away from something.
Exactly. Yeah,
Find
you
it.
want to be pulled towards something desirable, don't you, rather than pushed away from the pain.
So I was going toward this really healthy, transformational way of eating. And it was like, oh, I can see why my body needs this. I can see how this is helping. The weight started coming off very naturally. I was 60 pounds overweight by then. And the inflammation started going away and the sleep started healing and just the prediabetes reversed. There was just one benefit after another benefit. And it just started to feel easier and easier. Like I was in flow with my body instead of fighting it all the time.
Of course, yeah. I think so many of us, we do all the healthy stuff with the eating. We eat organic and we don't eat, but then we drink. I was like that. I would drink a bottle a night. So 55 years old and you managed to quit.
Yeah, I'm 66 now. So I don't know. There was a process of making these changes. I don't know exactly how long because I never knew I was going to want to help other people with this. I didn't write it all down, but it was at least a year changing my eating, getting the weight loss, changing my drinking. Now, the drinking, I really did just decide, okay, day after tomorrow.
You have to. That's why they're different, aren't they? Because you can't go without food completely, but we can go without alcohol. So it has to be handled differently, doesn't it?
A little bit. One of the things we say in Slender for Good is everything I eat or drink either helps my body or harms my body. So instead of leaving it wishy-washy, this is bad for me, but not that bad for me, which is how I was about alcohol and how I was with a bunch of things I had an addictive reaction to. I just started saying, I'm going to quit fooling myself about that. That is addictive to me. It is hurting my body. The research is really pretty rich about processed foods and alcohol being really damaging to our bodies.
Very much. These ultra processed foods, they're really doing the research into those, aren't they? It's frightening what they do.
Yes. The good thing is it's not that hard to change it to eating the way humans are meant to eat. Once you get out of the conditioning and the marketing and all that stuff.
Talk about these 4 principles. Reset the body to a healthy weight.
First one that it all revolves around, and people gloss over because it sounds like I'm just saying eat healthy, but the first principle is you have to eat abundant, highly nutritious foods.
Yeah.
And like you said, you need to be educated. Like, what are actually the highly nutritious foods? Because almost all the things that are packaged should tell you, oh, this has antioxidants. Oh, this is low calorie. This is low fat. Almost all a lie as far as the idea that they're healthy. So I like this question. What percent of our food that the human eats should be really nutritious foods?
60%?
I think it should be something more like 100 if we want to feel well for most of our lives. So you have strength and vitality, not just surviving. Like we can survive on those foods, but we're not going to be well. Most of us now are sick the last 10 years of our lives with one of those metabolic diseases. Whenever the end is, I would still like to be well and not have to be carried to the bathroom. So I think it should be closer to 100% of our food should be just real food. I don't know at what point we cross the threshold with our body where it says, I give up.
Share your top 3 nutritious foods.
The whole category of vegetables. And there's a bonus category in there, which is the cruciferous vegetables. I work mostly with really smart, successful midlife women. So they are smart. They've read all the things and they tell me I eat healthy. Not all of them, but most of them say I already eat healthy. It's not working. And it's because we're so misinformed about what healthy eating is. So people will say, I already eat lots of vegetables. We end up 4 times to 10 times the amount of vegetables they're eating.
Yeah.
It's a lot more than you think. And it's one of the first things that I'm losing weight and I feel full. It's not just bulk either. It's that you're nourishing your body. Like within a week or 2, people start going, I feel better. I'm mentally clearer. My hot flashes went away. My digestion has regulated. Like things start to feel better pretty fast. And that is not the only answer, but it is a big answer, a big part of the answer. Yeah. Fruit is another one. People got very scared of fruit. It makes me a little bit crazy. Like in the nursing homes, I would have all these patients with diabetes who are going blind, who are losing their feet, their toes, etc., neuropathy all over the place. They are in there eating all kinds of really carby things, bread, and they're going to the ice cream social, but they won't eat fruit. Fruit has sugar in it, but if you eat it instead of juicing it or turning it into some kind of dessert, it's got a lot of benefits too.
I was talking to a nutritionist the other day about the fact that so many of us, when we quit drinking, we suddenly on the sugar, even though we didn't think sweet things when we were drinking, but we suddenly miss the sugar in booze. So we want sweet sugar all the time. So people are eating chocolates and sweets and stuff.
Yeah.
But she said to me, you should advise them to eat fruit. When they have a craving for alcohol, eat fruit and eat a lot of fruit. She said, get a box of mangoes. They will taste so sweet to start with, but gradually you won't want that much. So I thought that was interesting, how the body needs the glucose, and that's why you're getting a craving for alcohol. And we advise people to do that now, and a lot of people help. So I thought that was interesting.
I think it really helps. Also, I think starting to question the drive towards sweet things, because our whole gut-brain axis and even our taste buds have been trained to prefer sweet things. So yes, getting sweet through fruits, but also starting to go, oh, like after dinner, I always felt like I need something sweet now. Is it a need, Ginny? Or is it a conditioned response?
Right? Just like the alcohol, you've got big alcohol, big food, and they're the ones that have educated us from when we were small children, really. This is good. This was what you need.
And also, did you have this experience where when you were a child and you were upset, somebody gave you candy, or you had a good grade on a test and somebody gave you candy? Like it's been associated so firmly and so long with the reward. Oh, good child.
Yeah.
Give myself some candy.
So many deep-rooted habits to break.
Yeah.
Why is this work so important for women in midlife, in recovery?
Yeah, I think partly because if you have this feeling of deprivation, I think when people quit drinking, sometimes that's where they start. Like I did. I was crying every day. Oh, poor me. I can't drink. Other people can drink, but I can't drink. I thought, I'm not going to succeed if I stay in this mental space, right? I'm going to feel like this poor, miserable person who just can't wait until, for some reason, I have a good enough excuse. So I knew I had to change my mindset because I was headed downhill. Your body may cope with junky food and alcohol pretty well, almost so you don't notice any effects when you're in your 20s and your 30s. Maybe in your 40s, you're starting to wonder. By your 50s and 60s, your body's been harmed for a long time metabolically. And so to turn that around is going to be a bit of a climb, right? At first. I remember quitting Diet Coke and feeling like that was so hard. And now I need to tackle alcohol and I need to tackle sugar. I just started listing the things that I knew had provoked this response in me that weren't good for me. And I thought it's going to be hard after hard. It's just going to be a miserable season of life. It's not really true. Actually, if you tackle them all at once and your whole focus on is, I'm going to shove those out by having so much of the nutritious things my body needs, it's a pretty fast response by your body and your brain to go, actually, this feels good.
Yeah. Our bodies and our brains are amazing, aren't they? If we can just let them heal.
And get out of the way. But at first, it took a little bit of a warrior spirit. I'm going to have to fight for this because there's a part of me fighting to hold on, right? Think of her now like a little girl. At first, I wanted to yell at her, shut up, I do not want alcohol. And then I thought, like a little girl who's you just told she can't have candy and she just wants to have a bit now. And I would go, it's okay. Nothing terrible's happening. We're just eating healthy for a while. Let's just see. We might like it.
Let's see how it goes. Let's be curious.
Yeah. Yeah. What if it's okay?
Yeah. One of the best things about quitting drinking is you reconnect with your body, don't you? You start feeling it again, because when we drink too much, we just lose ourselves. We can't feel what's going on.
Right. Pain was one of the drivers for me. I had chronic pain from a back injury in high school. And so I didn't want to go on pain medicine. I was afraid of that. This is partly why I was using alcohol and how it became more and more important to me.
Not a good solution. And then when you get people on the painkillers and the booze.
Yeah. Oh, it's so scary. Yeah.
So you mentioned emotional eating, but definitely an element of emotional drinking, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Is it the same mechanism in your view?
I think so. We're trying to self-soothe. We're trying to numb. I think one of the most amazing things to me, because I'm a psychologist, so addressing emotional eating feels very natural. Let's look at what you're actually feeling. Let's take care of those feelings. Let's see what those feelings are telling you. But what's been amazing to me is how many of my clients have said, oh, I just quit emotional eating. What do you mean you just quit? It used to be a problem for you. So what does it mean to just quit? Now that I know how to eat and it's super clear and I love it and it feels really great, there's just no room for emotional eating anymore. So learning to manage your emotions can be very great and important and necessary, but the key may be eating enough of the nutritious foods. I don't know if you know about serotonin, there's dopamine, like I'm just driven for more and more. It's a happy chemical, but it's a stressful chemical. But there's serotonin, which is a very calming, happy chemical. And most of the receptors for serotonin are in our gut.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So when we're eating abundant, nutritious foods, it looks to me from working with my clients, and I think the research bears this out, like it just really heals that system. So we get more of those calming chemicals in our system. The way my clients talk about it is, I just feel like I'm coping with things better. I just feel calmer. I'm easier to get along with. I think that is partly a response in our gut. Yeah.
Yeah. The gut, all the research is saying just how very important it is, isn't it?
Very important. Yeah. It's exciting to discover all that. The biology piece here is real. There's a real change that happens. Before we were putting alcohol in there, we're just killing stuff that we really need for healing and prompting this whole cortisol reaction. And it really makes me want to cry how we think we're helping ourselves. I realized I'm a psychologist. I teach people coping skills. That's part of what I do.
Yeah. And we use alcohol as a coping skill.
It was the only strategy I was drinking anymore. What other strategies are there? What did you just tell your client? There are other strategies than drinking or eating.
So tell us a few.
Getting out in nature is one of my favorite ones. Petting the dogs. Instead of looking for everything out there, be present right here. Look down, touch something, give yourself a hug, connect with something that's just right here present inside you, around you. Listen to the birds. It can be pretty simple. Yeah.
So the dopamine piece is interesting because my theory, I'm not a doctor or a scientist, but my personal little theory is that we've been relying on alcohol for decades, like I had. I drank for 40 years. And then you take that away, your brain is struggling. My story is I was okay for the first few months because I was quite excited about the sobriety thing. I thought, oh, I'm doing this thing at last and it's not that hard and I'm going to change everything. I was excited. So it's like I had a project.
Yeah.
When I got to about 3 or 4 months, my mood just plummeted and I felt so depressed.
Oh,
And I thought, how am I going to do this? I can't live like this. And I talked to a neuroscientist about this because I interviewed her for the podcast. And she said, that's interesting. It happens to a lot of people. But when did it start changing for you? So I really had to think about this. And I said, it started changing when I made this decision to start Tribe Sober, because then I was so busy. I had to learn how to do marketing, how to do a website, how to podcast. I had to learn all this stuff and I was meeting all these people and I started perking up. She said, you must get a project when you give up drinking. To start with, quitting is your project. Just treat it like a job, learn everything you can about sobriety. Then when you've nailed the habit change, that's when you need a project. You need a new passion. So
yes.
it Tribe Sober 10 years ago. So it's kept going ever since.
Yeah. Any change process, it's going to have its emotional ups and downs.
Yeah.
See, with my clients, they start eating this way. They're like, oh my gosh, why didn't anyone tell me this? This is so amazing. I love this. This is easy. And then at some point, there is a drop off of this isn't exciting to me anymore. And I remember that drinking was exciting. I remember that eating dessert was exciting. And so there's a having to get through that. I miss the excitement. Like I want to turn back toward that excitement again. No, keep going forward toward another excitement. Don't turn back.
People think, what's the point of being sober if I'm miserable? The neuroscientist that I just mentioned, actually, she's very interesting. She's called Loretta Breuning. She's great. She's written a book, Why You're Unhappy. And it's all about having projects and the different brain chemicals. And she says that happiness is a skill and we have to develop that skill. And I thought that was so interesting because so many of us, especially if we give up drinking, we sit around and we think, I'm not happy yet. What's going on? We're not happy. I get people contacting me and saying, I haven't had a drink for weeks, but I'm not happy yet. Pink cloud, that's what I had to start with. And then that dissipates and you need something in its place.
And it's just so not reality to live on a pink cloud your whole life. Life has ups and downs. We've been trained otherwise, at least Americans. You can just go buy something and it will give you the pink cloud again.
And you look at social media, Instagram, it just looks like everybody's living the perfect life. I found it quite a relief, really, when I finally twigged that we're not put on earth to be happy all the time. We're happy maybe 50% of the time and the other 10 will be quite tough, but we have to roll with the punches.
And we're just not going to live there all the time. It's like a relationship, right? People ask me sometimes, is it sustainable to eat healthy all the time? And I shouldn't use the term eat healthy because it's so misunderstood, but is it sustainable? Is marriage sustainable? It is if you choose for it to be. Not like it takes constant effort, but periodically.
So tell us what the main benefits of sobriety have been for you, Ginny.
The first one is just really a sense of liberation and feeling free of addiction. Part of what being a warrior was about is I don't want to live in addiction. That's not who I think of myself as being. And I just don't want to give my life over to this thing that I can't do without. I can't stop. So just feeling free of that was like, I guess that's part of why I want to cry.
I wrote a blog once called 7 Ways Sobriety Sets You Free.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
I tried to moderate for 10 years because I couldn't imagine my life without alcohol and how would it even work. So I thought,
Right.
I'm a strong person, I'll just control it. And I'm just
Right.
drink this amount. And at weekends, I had all my rules in place. And it would last for a few weeks and then the wheels would come off. And then I would feel like a failure and have a row with my husband that wanted me to drink less. And then I would try again. And it was exhausting and depressing. But if
Yes.
someone had told me, then it's much easier just to quit the stuff.
So much easier to just abstain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can't moderate an addictive drug, certainly when you've become dependent, can you? So that I was going wrong for 10 years, but apparently that's about the average time that people try. Don't take my word.
I know. I think that was in my mind when I quit. I decided I'm going to quit for a year. I'm going to change my eating for a year in this big way. I'm going to give it enough time to really change my whole body and my mind. And then I'll decide if I'm going to try again. That year I had one fall off. And the last time I had a fall off was like 6.5 years ago. It's like walking down the street in Oaxaca. Somebody has a little shot of mezcal. And I'm like, ooh, that sounds really good. And here she just handing it to me and drink it. And I want more. I can't think of anything else. I just want more. And I thought, that's why you don't want to do. That's why you don't want to fool around with this.
I know. I used to think of my addiction like a sleeping tiger, and it was all cozy and asleep. But if I had a shot of something, it would start waking up, and maybe I wouldn't be completely crazy straight away, but within weeks, we'd be back at square one again.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we could moderate. That's what I told myself. Maybe I could moderate, but it's going to take over my life.
Yeah, it does. The little notebook I used to write all the units. Oh, I've had so many units. What am I going to do at that party?
That's really what I wanted to escape. I want other things to be important, not eating and drinking.
So talk to us about the Slender for Good program.
I'm really proud of it because when I figured out how this works and how much more emotionally positive and how liberating it is, I thought that's not what people are thinking when they go on a diet. And dieting, I don't know if you know this, but more than 95% of the time going on a diet doesn't last. It doesn't stick. Within 2 or 3 years, almost everyone has fallen off and gained the weight back or more. Yeah. It's terrible odds. It's part of what makes me want to cry too. Thinking of women like me who have so much to offer the world. We're needed in our world, and we're wasting our energy trying to figure out how to manage this in that state you're describing of, I'm just trying, I'm trying. It doesn't have to be like that. If you can just commit to this really positive way of eating and drinking that actually makes you lose the weight without feeling bad, you don't feel hungry in between. People don't know this. People don't know.
You imagine that if you want to be thin, you're always going to be hungry, and it's a choice.
If you're starving yourself into weight loss, it's very predictable you're going to gain the weight back.
Yeah, and it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. Yeah.
I like what you said about giving it a year. I was talking to a rehab doctor the other day. This was about drinking, and he said that they've got a rule of thumb in that rehab that for every year that the person drank, it's going to take a month of recovery. So I thought that was quite interesting because I drank for 40 years. So using that rule, my recovery would have taken 3.5 years. And sometimes I tell people that and they go, oh God, I'm going to feel like this for 3.5 years. And I say, no, you'll feel much better quite soon. But just 3.5 years, if you have been drinking for decades like me, then the benefits will keep coming.
Yeah, it's like a snowball rolling down a hill. You get more and more benefits, and it's just happening. It's easy.
It's all about the benefits. And once they really start coming in, because people are impatient, aren't they?
Yes.
They want to stop drinking and feel good, but it takes work. You have to adapt and work it.
But I think that we've hit on this thing of it doesn't have to be painful work. It can be exciting, stimulating, like a project that you're like, yeah, pretty cool. I love how working. Yeah.
And stay curious and journal.
Yeah.
That's it. Every day, just journal about what you've eaten and how it made you feel.
Yes. It makes me think about one of my clients, Jennifer, who she'd been through like divorce and cancer. And like she's a smart person who could always figure this stuff out. But she was 40 pounds overweight. Her daughter's wedding was coming up. She felt like my body's going the wrong direction and I can't turn it around anymore. And when she learned this way of eating and drinking, she said not only was she feeling better, losing the weight, like feeling energy in her body again, feeling like her body was healing, but she said, I really am enjoying my period during the week or during the days where I'm doing food prep, where I'm like chopping vegetables and stuff like that. It's like a meditative practice because it's taking care of myself, like it's a spiritual practice almost.
Rather than shoving a packaged meal in the microwave for 2 minutes.
Yeah. Feeling like I'm an awesome warrior. I love how I'm taking care of myself.
These jabs, the fat jab.
What people are doing with that is they're tamping down their appetite because that's how we've been trained. You need to eat less. You need to have less calories. You need to manage your appetite. So it's this whole control and force kind of approach. Now, some people may have to take it because they have type 2 diabetes. They have diabetes, right? But for a lot of people, I think we're taking the wrong approach to solving the problem. The problem isn't that we have too much appetite. That's one of the down the line problems that's being caused because we're not nourishing our bodies well enough.
Yeah.
So I started saying, I think we should be eating about 100% nutritious food. It's less than 50% now. On average, less than 50% of the food we eat is actually nutritious. There's a term, overfed and undernourished. So solving the problem of I'm eating too much is not solving the deeper problem, which is I'm not eating enough of the nutritious foods.
Yeah. And I think having those kind of injections, it doesn't encourage you to educate yourself, does it? Because a lot of people just do it for cosmetic reasons, don't they? They just want to, and they don't really care what they're eating. Do you take them forever, these injections?
Exactly. Because most people gain the weight back if they go off those.
Yeah. And there'll be side effects that they'll discover in a few years.
No, it's scary. The main problem isn't that we're eating too much. It's that we're not eating enough of the foods our body needs.
So is there a book about Slender for Good, did I see?
Thank you. I just published a book a few months ago, Slender for Good After 50. Eat more, stress less, and never diet again.
Great title. People can get it on Amazon?
They can get it on Amazon. They can get it through me.
And you're a hypnotherapist. You do the 𝐟𝐨𝐫𝐠𝐞𝐭 coaching and a psychotherapist, obviously. People contact you if they want to book sessions. You do it over Zoom, hopefully.
I'm working with people all over the English-speaking world. And so some are in Australia and some are in Canada and the US and some in Europe.
A lot of people try to lose weight, yet they want to carry on drinking.
Yeah.
But I heard that because alcohol is so toxic, your system wants to get rid of it quickly. It wants to get out of your body.
The priority. Yeah.
Exactly. So your food doesn't get burned up as quickly and as efficiently as it might do if you weren't drinking. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. The way I would say it is, it really shuts off your fat burning system because your body prioritizes the toxicity and getting it out. So it is burning alcohol when it would be burning fat.
Yeah.
So it stops burning the fat from the food that you eat.
Yeah.
So it's super hard. Eventually, some people are going to drink so much that they lose weight because they're so sick, right?
Yeah. You lose interest in food, don't you, if it's really got bad? Yeah. All you want to do is drink.
Yeah. It's turning off fat burning, but also it's turning off the part of your brain that has good judgment about and cares about your future. It's really anesthetizing that part of your brain. People know they make bad decisions when they drink. Yeah. So I
Cool.
can tell you in my program, like 80% of my clients have had an issue with drinking, most of them.
Interesting.
And a lot of them have quit, and others, they're in that trying to moderate season, etc. But the ones who really don't stop drinking do not have success with changing their eating either. They
Yeah.
just don't have the judgment and the energy for it, I think.
Yeah. I used to be like that if I'd been dieting and then I'd have a few drinks and I'd think, oh, to hell with this.
Oh,
And you want some salty snacks when you're drinking as well.
that's
So
bad.
that's another one.
Bad. Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
have done studies actually watching two groups of people eat a meal, and the ones that were drinking with the meal ate more food.
Yeah.
Thought that was fun.
Yeah. No shut up switch. Right.
Thank you, Jamie. That was really interesting. You haven't told us your website.
Oh, slenderforgood.com.
That's easy to remember. Slenderforgood.com. Anything we haven't mentioned that you'd like to say?
I mentioned this, but just having calm and peace in your life is one of the benefits of making this big turn in another direction. I think it's one of the top benefits my clients mentioned to me that they weren't really expecting, that just feeling so much calmer, having a sense of peace with food and what they drink. They don't have to have this stressful relationship anymore with food and drink, and it's a treasure.
It is, yeah. And just having that mental space as well. I was talking to someone the other day and she said when I was drinking, it would be like when you watch the news and then there's a ticker at the bottom.
No.
Say for me, that was always going 24/7 and it would be how many units did I have last night and what my
Yes.
I go out and shall I pick out a bottle on the way home and is there any in the fridge?
Yes. It's so stressful. Yeah. It just, and you think you have to make that ticker stop. It's not really like that. It's like when you focus on, I'm just going to give my body so much nutritious stuff, and then I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to do my life. I feel like I got 2 hours of every day back that I was trying to figure, how am I going to solve all this? What am I going to eat? What am I going to do to hide how fat I am was part of it. I have to buy new clothes. I have to get new makeup. It was constantly on my mind. And yeah, like that ticker. Oh.
And we waste a lot of time when we drink as well because we don't feel motivated to get up and do it. We just want to sit down with coffee.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like it's reassuring in the moment, but it's just stealing our life so much.
Yeah, someone said the other day, drinking wine is not a form of self-care. It's the opposite.
It's the opposite.
It's a quick fix, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think if you're a working mum, that was when I got really bad. Just exhausted all the time. And by the time you sit down, you just want to fall on the wine.
Yes. And it's adding to the exhaustion, but in the moment, it really feels like it's helping.
Yeah.
Such a trap.